part of the world I'm streaming from. Okay, this is Made Such Course Mastery live session, and then we're using this means to carry out our training, our studies, which is let's discuss thorax, upper and lower limb. And so with me here is a student from another uh, part of the world joining us to study. Okay, so we'll be discussing thorax, upper and lower limb. All right. Uh-huh. We in the morning and in the afternoon we were teaching it. Okay, we were describing it. We were trying to learn it. But now we want to discuss it. Okay, so my fellow student here or my friend there is going to I'll be taking note of one or two things I'm sharing with him, and he's going to tell us, okay, what we just said. Okay, the first thing we want to discuss is thorax. Oh, come on, the host is okay. I hope he will join back later. Maybe his network is a bit bad. Okay, so the first thing we are looking at is thorax. And we said in thorax, we have looked at a number of subtopics of discussing thorax. As a matter of importance, the last one we looked at was diaphragm. It was diaphragm. Okay, it was what? Diaphragm. And we looked at a number of things about diaphragm. And then now here is us not to study again, but to check the one we store during study. How far has it been? Okay, how much can we recall and discuss? Okay, because discussion group is one of the study techniques, okay, that helps to retain concepts learned and concerns to be learned. Okay, now in upper limb we are starting from scratch, and in thorax, abdomen, and pelvis and perineum we are a major point learning smarter. So as time goes on, we learn more. We learn more. So this thorax, abdomen, and pelvis, we have done. Uh, so like we said, we have done um, thorax, abdomen, pelvis, and perineum on the periphery, on the surface, and we're going to do another one shortly. Only that this time we are discussing the ones we have done. Okay, we are discussing the ones we have done. So we believe it's going to be wonderful time discussing and sharing on thorax. Is that okay? Okay, thank God. Our guest student is also here to study with us. So first and foremost, I'll be discussing The things we have picked in thorax, like we said, the two things we have not picked in anatomy of the thorax is the action of the joints and bones, as well of muscles rather, as well as the clinical correlates of those uh, thoracic structures. So we'll be looking at that maybe tomorrow when we are doing anatomy study shopping and in the morning. But now we want to look at the ones we've done so far and discuss. So over to our guests. Let's know which of these have you studied with us? Either you've listened to it or you've done so because we are discussing anatomy of thorax, upper and lower limb. So, which of them have you looked at? Let's hear from you before we share any new one with you. Hello, are you there? Hello, guest, are you there? Talk to us. In upper and lower limb, in thorax, okay? What have you learned so far with us, either on live session or you play back the recorded live session? Which of them, what have you learned in thorax? Let's start from thorax. Or
Yes, I've
let's
learned
start from
the meaning
let's
of.
start from upper and lower limb. Okay, what have you learned so far in upper and lower limb? Let's start from there.
So in the upper and lower limb, I think I learned about the bone of the upper and lower limb, where we looked at the mnemonics. That is, I think. Listen, yes, I have learned plenty things from the upper and lower limb, sha, where we talked about the muscle of the scapula, the I think the bones of the upper and lower limb. We talked about I think the muscles of the upper.
I can't see your mouth. The way you are sitting, like I said, always sit in such a way at least your mouth can be seen. This is a discussion session and it's presented to other students. So if you are shy, this your shyness is increasing by the day. You are shy of facing the public. Are you public phobia or phobic or something? You can't face the world. You don't want the world to see your face or see. It's the mouth you want to see. Okay, but let's do this to you so that it may help you. In upper and lower limb, okay, we have looked at, okay, the mnemonics for remembering the whole 48 topics. All right, the mnemonics for remembering the whole 48 topics, and then we pick some of those topics. I think two or three of those topics, and then we also listed out the mnemonics for answering question in theory about those two or three topics. Then after that, we looked at one of those bones, okay? And we were looking at the muscles that are attached to one of those bones, and that's the scapula, okay? Said there are about 70 muscles of the scapula. And we're able to look at the mnemonics for remembering the whole 70 muscles, okay? So which of these can you discuss with us? Can you share with us here on live? Okay, that you could recall.
Yes, sir. And that is, I started drawing. That should be.
I cannot hear you. Hello? I cannot hear you. I can't hear you. Your voice is very low. All right, so maybe I should pick up from there to save our time. Okay, I said we have oh we have the 17 module, sorry, the 17 topics that we reduce the whole topics in anatomy into. And the mnemonics we use, can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, so we said, please, okay, please never ask very old students question. Okay, we say, please never ask very old student question. Okay, why? Many fail comprehensive joint board exams because brachial anatomy always feel challenging. That's the mnemonic we use. Okay, please never ask very old students question. Many fail comprehensive joint board exams because brachial anatomy always feel challenging. Okay, so the P stands for popliteal and cubital fossa. We said the very stands for veins of venous drainage. Okay, the navel stands for what? The navel stands for what? Yes.
The nerve. Or the nerve.
I don't like what is going on here. Your camera is not picking your mouth. Mhm. The camera is the mouth I'm after. You understand? Let's see your mouth, not your thorax. Your mouth. You're laughing. You're laughing. Please don't laugh here. Your laughter is contagious. Okay? So that our viewers in the comment section will not be enjoying themselves and laughing all through. So let's hear from you. The nerve, you said, the nerve, you said it's nerve or nerve plexus. Okay. The 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 old stands for what? The old stands for what? Origin. That's not a topic in anatomy. You remember we're talking about topics in anatomy, not muscles. No, lie, it can't be origin. We are not talking about muscles here.
Organs.
Eh, organs, good.
Says organs.
Yes,
Organs.
organs. Organs. All right. So the student question stands for what? Spaces, example, quadrangular spaces. All right. Many stands for what? Many
Says
stands for what?
the muscle.
We can't see your mouth. If there's a way to turn your mouth to become your eyes, eh, you want to see your mouth when it's answering
Many,
questions.
many muscle.
Okay, many stands for muscles. Then moving away from there, join many fail. Fail stands for what? You said fail stands for fresh. Say what's the spelling of fresh and what does it stand for?
Right? FRASH is it?
Yes, FRASCH, where we said femoral ring, femoral artery, femoral sheath, femoral canal, and femoral what?
Femoral.
Hernia. Okay. It's a many fail comprehensive. Okay, someone is asking here, said Abibu Kusim said, hi, Mr. Godfrey. Okay. Okay, he's greeting someone here. Okay, he's greeting someone who is part of this live session. Okay, welcome, Abibu Usin. All right, we can see you are greeting somebody who is Mr. Godfrey. Okay, so welcome to you for joining live. So, because you are joining live, let's make it interesting a lot more. Okay, we know others are also joining, but it's our guest that we after, not me teaching, not me presenting. Okay, so Mr. Habib, we were talking about the 48 topics in upper and lower limb. Remember, tonight's session is let's discuss. This one is not teaching from book. This one is discuss. Okay, our guest, why are you eating your Bible? Very interesting this evening. Okay, you didn't take your dinner. You can. Okay, that's by the way. So Mr. Habib is here with us. I think he's also a preclinical student. And then we said the whole 48 topics in anatomy can be studied under 17. And we use the mnemonics. Please never ask very old student question. Many fail comprehensive joint board exams because brachial anatomy always feel challenging. So please, there stands for popliteal and cubital fossa. And then as there stands for artery or artery or anastomosis, and then very stands for veins and venous drainage, lymphatic drainage, and then we said old stands for organs, and then student question stands for spaces, example quadrangular space, and then main stands for muscle. That's what our guest told us, and then fail stands for frash. Frash is spelled F bracket open RASCH. That is femoral ring, femoral artery, femoral canal, femoral sheath, and femoral hernia. And then after that, comprehensive stands for cavity, sorry, canal, and then joint stands for joints, example shoulder joints, elbow joints, knee joints, hip joints, and other types of joints. Okay, the interphalangeal joint of the hand, interphalangeal joint of the foot, like that. Metapocap, metapo, me, metacarpal joint, things like that. Okay, metacarpal and all that. So those other joints, they're there. And then we talk about board exams. It stands for breast or mammary gland. And then we start about because that stands for bone. Brachia, that stands for what? Guess? Brachia stands for what? What topic does brachia stands for?
So break here. Uh, it stands for the. So it should is it bone? Either bone or the breast or
Brachia cannot stand for bone and breast. I've already mentioned board exams for breast. I've already mentioned because for bone. So brachia will stand for brachial plexus and other plexuses. You see. Okay. So you have not done your assignment on studio on MSC's study shop. That's why you are struggling and you are stammering. To be a master, you must stammer, yes. But if you stay at stammering, that's a problem. You must move from stammering to plastering, where you should be able to say those things in beats. All right. And then you should move to a level of fostering, okay, where you should be able to say it faster. So maybe what I'll do is, Mr. Habib and other viewers in the comment section, I will run through this one, and then I will allow him to tell us the one he's comfortable with, because he's our guest. He's supposed to be our guest and talking here, not me talking. So I'm done with it. Brachial stands for brachial anatomy. Sorry, brachial plexus and other plexuses. And then anatomy stands for axilla. And then always stands for arches, both of the foot and of the palm. And then feel stands for femoral triangle. And then challenging style for classification of joints, okay, anatomical terms and region. So before I go on, in upper and lower limb, can you remember any other thing we learned? Because if you don't remember, I'm going to say it, all right, before we go to tap, thorax, abdomen, and perineum. The way you're holding your face is like it's far away, you remember it. Like you're trying to squeeze all the remembrance from your brain. What can you remember in upper and lower limb? Guess. You're very funny this evening. Okay, I wish I'll have another guess because this guess is very funny this evening. Okay.
In the upper and lower limb, we pick the bone and we look
Your voice,
we
your voice, your voice,
how the bone of the upper.
your voice, bro.
Sorry, sir. I said that we looked at the bone of the upper and lower limb, how they can be studied. And then we picked a mnemonic that says I started I started drawing perfect pictures showing some big brown so, showing some big mysterious brown lions on Jack's field, excluding sparkling cities, where we saw that
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. I love that.
we we saw that I stands for the introduction, the the started stands for the shaft,
That's right.
the shaft,
That's
the
right.
I started drawing stands for the diagram, the
That's right.
picture stands for the position, the the surface some big mysterious stands for the muscles, brown stands for some big brown lion, on stands for the ossification, the ossification uh sorry.
Vision center, you're correct. Move on. I can't hear you again. Oh.
Ossif- ossification
I've tried. Let me
set
continue from there. Yes, education center, you've tried. Can I help you from there?
uh
It's a discussion, so let me put in my own
features.
discussion. Hello, see, is that is what you're doing? Eh? Let me put in my own discussion from here. Is that okay? uh Please, let's always see your video away from your mouth. It means you are checking book. Do you follow? It means you are checking book. So let's always see your mouth when you are talking. I love it when you are looking at the ceiling. Yes, because the last time I checked, nothing is pasted on your ceiling fan. You know. So I draw perfect some Big mysterious brown lion on field on Jasper Field, excluding sparkling cities. I there stands for introduction to the bone. Any bone, whether bones of the upper limb, or bones of the thorax, or bones of the head and neck, or bones of any other structures. Okay? Now, we now said draw stands for diagram and should be 5 to 10 diagram on the average. Okay, and we say perfect stands for part, and we said picture stands for position, and we say surface stands for side determination. He said sum stands for surface, and then border is what stands for brown. Mysterious is what stands for muscles, and then what else is what's the next mnemonic? Brown stands for blood supply, and then lion stands for ligament, and then on stands for ossification center, and then Jasper stands for joint. Okay, that bone is joined to another bone. Every bone is joined to another bone. Okay, whether there is something or there is fluid. Okay, that is, there is nothing between the bones. All bones have joints with another bones. Okay, Jasper field. The field there stands for features. Every bone has peculiar features. And then we move away from there. Said the next one is what? The next one,
The
yes, the
ends,
ends.
the
Excluding
excluding.
stands for the ends. All bones have upper and lower, upper end and lower end or extremities. And then the charming. Oh my enough.
So I can't hear you. So
Oh Jesus Christ. Sorry, I didn't on my speaker. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I didn't on my speaker. Sorry about that. Okay, so we said that's that for bones for up and lower limb. And if I need to tell you to let us see your mouth again, I will need to run this thing without you, dear guests. Okay, because this is a live presentation and people are watching this, people are observing. Okay, so how you carry yourself in the public counts. Do you follow? Okay, please. If possible, turn your seat, let the light shine on that your mouth very well so they see your face. Okay, they won't need to see who our guest is. uh I hope you will not be masking your face. I know, guess, usual and viewers, subscribers, this young man here is a shy type, okay? He does not like trouble in the kingdom. So he's just managing to be a guest here. So I hope we have another guest because he has been our guest for a while now and he's almost feeling, oh my God. You see, now he's hiding the face completely from the picture, but it's okay. No problem. We are going to be fine. Okay, so now let's get back to work. We said for, we've talked of bones for joints. Can you remember that of joints? I always see, I, I always see born again disciples teaching all
Various
Christian love,
disciples.
Bible reading now more accurately. I always see born again disciple. What does it stand for?
Say I stands for normally the introduction. The O stands for the articular surface. Yeah.
That's right.
The
That's right.
I always the
Venous drainage. That's right. Okay, so we are struggling with network on his part. So we said, I always see various born again
various
disciple.
the born again diagram.
The diagram. Disciple stands for diagram. Okay. Teaches all Christians stands for what?
Teaches all Christians stands for the for
Capsule.
the
All
capsule.
right.
Yes,
Love
the capsule
stands for what?
teaches all. Love stands for
A
the
ligament.
ligaments.
Uh-huh.
Ligaments, sir.
Bible reading stands for what?
Bible reading stands for the blood supply and
Relation,
the
not radiation, relation. What is related to it? What is beside it? Okay, what is behind it, in front of it, above it? Like in Torah, we say Paul, Paul, Mr. Paul. Paul is beside the thorax. Okay, superiorly. Now we move on. More accurately stands for what? Now more accurately
more
stands for
accurate.
what? Hmm? Now more accurately
Now
stands.
more accurate. Now more accurately stands for the nerve supply. More stands for the muscle, and then accurately stands for the clinical significance or I think
Applied anatomy.
account of anatomy. Applied
Applied
anatomy.
anatomy. All right, let's quickly look at muscles. Let's quickly look at muscles. We talk about the mnemonics for writing theory exams about muscle. What can you recall that of muscles? See, use your this young man. This kind of guest I'm having a guy. Smarty will be shining out. Smarty will be shining out. Guy, yeah, man, come on. Eh?
If clinics are.
That's right. That's right. Internship students take only important action before nurses can leave clinic. Okay. So internship stands for what?
Sir?
Internship stands for what?
Internship.
Okay. Students, doctor stands for what?
The introduction.
Student, doctors stands for what? Beautiful. Okay. Take only stands for what?
The shape and the diagram.
Take stands for what? Take only important action. Take stands for what? Only stands for what?
Take stands for the type. Then, yeah, I say only stands for origin.
Important stands for
Important stands for the insertion.
all right. Well, I'm not really appreciating the way your face is moving and your eye is moving. I felt maybe you need to be, maybe the next time I'm inviting guests, I'll need to discuss with my guests what I expect on the live session. Okay, because this is a real training ground where we train students how to master from scratch. Yes, there's a time to stammer, not in the public. We do that later, do that in the background. We do that, but no problem. It's good. Everything is showing up here, so we know where we are working. So talking about muscles, we said, okay, internship student doctors. Okay, internship student doctors take only important actions before nurses can leave clinic. Internship student doctors take only important actions before nurses can leave clinic. And then we said internship stands for introduction, doctor stands for diagram, student stands for shape, take stands for type of muscle, or only stands for origin of the muscle, and then important stands for insertion of the muscles, like we talk about diaphragm, which is a musculofibrous partition, is a muscle. The places they inserted, you saw also do what? Saw where it originated from. That was in the afternoon. And then moving away from there, we said that we talked about action. That's simply action. Every muscle has an action. The kind of movement it does, is it flexion? Is it extension? Is it rotation? Is it adduction, abduction? Is it circumnation, circumduction? Is it a pantaflexion? Is it dorsiflexion? Okay, is it inversion? Is it evasion? Do you follow? What is the kind of action it does? Now, not only that, when we look at muscles, it's also good you know the muscles that are doing a certain action. Okay, there's this usual question that usually come in MCQ. Which muscle makes the hand to stand at 15 degree? Which one moves that's move the upper limb to 15 degree? Which one moves the upper limb to 90 degree? Which one moves the upper limb to 180 degree? That is when you move the hand like this, that's 180 degree. This is 90 degree, and this is 15 degree. Are you following? So there are muscles that are responsible for that. So when we'll be looking at the muscles, we'll be looking at some of those things. All right. For example, when somebody smiles, there are so many muscles, over 17 to 47 muscles that is responsible for that smile. If someone frown, is very angry, there are about 72 muscles that are responsible for that frowning. Okay, when you breathe in and breathe out, there are some muscles, 4 to 8 muscles or more, that are responsible for breathing in and breathing out. Are you seeing now? So that's how important muscles is. Do you follow? Okay. Drop a message in the comment box if you can type. Okay, if you are following. All right. Now, that was that about muscle. Then we get into the 17 muscles of the scapula. Can you remember the mnemonics for it?
So the 17 muscles for the scapula, I think we have the smart intense try study. They learn really rare surgery plus
Your
difficult
voice
test.
is very low, my king, my guest.
Okay, sir. So for the 17 muscles of the scapula, we have the smart intense try studying. They learn really rare surgery plus difficult tests. Busy tutors comes late often, sir.
Beautiful. Smart interns try studying. They learn really rare surgery plus difficult tests. Okay, busy tutor come late often. All right. Can you rattle out what it stands for? Smart there stands for what? Supraspinatus. Okay, intense stands for what?
Then stands for the infraspinatus, sir.
Okay. Tri stands for what? Teres minor.
Teres minor.
Okay. Studying stands for subscapularis. Okay. All right. So what's the next mnemonics?
The next is try study. They learn.
The learn that
Day
is
stands for the teres
teres major and what? Levator scapulae. What's the next mnemonics?
scapulae. They learn really rare surgery.
Okay, that's
That is the
rhomboid.
rhomboid major and the rhomboid minor.
Don't forget rhomboid minor first before rhomboid major. It's only when
Before
it comes to pectoralis that which one comes first.
the major.
Good. So you only have the pectoralis major attaching to the scapula. All right. The pectoralis minor does not attach to the scapula. Let's move on.
Yeah. We have the plus difficult test.
That is
That is
pectoralis
the
major and
pectoralis major
deltoid.
Detroit.
Deltoid,
The
or what they
deltoid.
call deltoideus. Okay. The test there is trapezius. The test there is trapezius. Mention the next mnemonic.
It is busy tutor, sir.
That's bicep brachii and what?
And the
Bicep
the
brachia goes
bicep
with tricep brachia. Bicep goes
yeah,
with tricep brachia. Okay.
yes, sir.
Bicep brachia is in the anterior, tricep brachia is in the posterior part of the brachium. The brachium is the bone or the region between the shoulder and the elbow. So the muscles in front is called bicep brachia, and the muscle behind is called tricep brachia.
And the bar the minimum.
All right, so can we continue? Now we are done with that now. I think that's how much we have done in up and lower limb, isn't it? Yeah. So the next thing we did was histology, we did embryology. Okay. Now before we look at those two, what's the time now? We started about Yeah, it's 11 o'clock. We use 1 hour on upper and lower limb. Okay, let's use a little more minutes on thorax. What can you remember about thorax?
Okay, so on thorax, we started from the from from the Jexi film where so that J then stands for the joint of the thorax.
I
The
can't
X
hear your voice. I can't hear your
okay,
voice. I can't hear your voice. Can't hear your voice. Increase your voice.
so that the J stands for the joint, the E for the extent, the C for the composition, the next C for the characteristics, the M for the meaning of thorax. Then we went on to look at the meaning of thorax, where we use the acronym IRAN for describing thorax. We said that the I stands for the introduction, the R for the region, the A for the neck, and that the six of thorax, the acronym the SMSTTD, where we saw that S stands for the skin, the M stands for the muscle, the next S stands for the T stands for the the thoracic cage, the next C stands for the thoracic cavity, and the D stands for the deep fascia. Then we went on to arrange the characteristics in their correct order, where we have the skin topping the table, followed by the fascia, which both of them are the connective tissues. Then the skin works as the epithelial tissue. We went on to look at the muscle, the muscle tissue, and then the and the thoracic cavity, sir. We went on to look at the composition, where we saw the the acronym the S gas. Yes, sir. Yes, I think that is why I
Okay, sorry about that. I think it's network issue. So we've been able to fix that. So, you were saying something. What were you saying about thorax that you recall? I didn't get you. Network pushed me out of here.
I was said that we started with I said that we started with the Jexifi. Where the J stands for the joint, the east extend, the east stands for the extent, the C stands for the next C stands for the composition, then the F stands for the function, the I stands for the thoracic inlet, the meaning of thorax. Then we to look at the meaning of thorax where we thorax can be explained using the acronym Iran, where we saw that I stands for the introduction, R stands for region, the A stands for the abdomen, and the N stands. Then we say that the thorax fine as the region between the neck and the abdomen, abdomen. Sir. Then we went on to look at the characteristics of thorax, where we made mention of the acronym, the SMCT, where we said that the first S stands for the skin, M stands for the muscle, the next superficial fascia, T stands for the thoracic cage. Yeah, the thoracic cage. Then the next T for the thoracic cavity, and then the D stands for the deep fascia. Then we went ahead to arrange in their we arranged it in their normal what we said that the skin contains epithelial tissue, the superficial fascia comes next, fascia, and they serve as connective tissue. Then the muscle tissue, the muscle neck, and the thoracic cage and the thoracic cavity, sir. Then we went on to look at the composition of the of the thorax, where we saw that the thorax. Okay, we made mention of the acronym, the STP, which stands for the sternum, and so yeah, the top part of the ribs and the thoracic vertebrae, that is the T1 to the T12. Then we went on to look at the extent of the thorax, yes, sir, where we saw that the thorax starts from the superior mesosternum and it flows down to the inferior mesosternum and ends at the
Mediastinum, not mesotelium.
posterior mesosternum, sir.
Mediastinum,
Then
mediastinum, not
we
mesotelium. Mediastinum, mediastinum.
deep, sorry, sir. Like that's from the superior mediastinum to the inferior mediastinum and ends at the posterior mediastinum, sir. Then we went on to look at the function of the thorax, where we saw that the thorax serves as it protects the visceral organs like the heart and the lungs. Then we went on to look at the thoracic inlet, where we made mention of the mnemonics tall rabbit travels bright street to escape cars. Yes, yes, sir. I think that's what I was able to get from thorax, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I guess you've really done a whole lot for us today. Just a quick one on thorax. We said thorax is Jack C film. All right, JEC dash C dash FIM. Jack C film or Jack C film. Wow. Okay, so somebody is, maybe there's light or there's electricity, and someone is saying, "Hey, Jack C film." What does that mean? M for meaning, I for inlet of thorax or thoracic inlet, F for functions, C for characteristics of thorax. Okay, and the next C for composition of thorax, the E for extent of thorax, the J for joint of thorax. For M meaning of thorax, we said M stands for what? Iran. That is, thorax is the region between the abdomen and the neck. Between the abdomen and the neck. We've always been saying that. And then the thoracic inlet, we said V square man. That is, the first V is for viscera, the next V is for vein, the next M is for muscle, the next A is for artery, and the last N is for nerve. Those are the things that are found in the thoracic inlet, or what you call the superior aperture of the thorax. Moving away from there, you find the composition, the function. Thorax says the singular function of protecting the viscera, the abdominal viscera. The composition of thorax, okay, the characteristic of thorax is SMSTTD. S for skin, M for muscle, okay, T for thoracic cage, next T for thoracic cavity, and D for thoracic, for deep fascia. Now, this is the order we take based on histology. Skin, that's epithelial tissue. Superficial fascia and deep fascia, that's connective tissue. Muscles, that's muscle tissue. Then thoracic cage and thoracic cavity, you find neurovascular vessels there or nerves. Okay, moving away from there, we talk about the composition. STP, we said STP, standard temperature of pressure, that's in biochemistry. But when it comes to anatomy, we said STP stands for what? The sternum. It is here, the sternum, because your body is the best textbook, sternum. And then the thoracic, that's at the back. Okay, thoracic vertebra T1 to T12. And then the P there is the pairs of ribs. Okay, pairs of ribs. You have pairs of ribs by both sides, about 12 of them. When you are done with that, you talk about the extent of the thorax. We said sip, S-I-P, to sip gari or sip cornflakes or sip smoothie or sip a drink, okay? Now, S stands for superior mediastinum, I stands for inferior mediastinum, P stands for posterior mediastinum. Now, we talk about the joints. We said sit, 6 SMS. So S is SMS, 6 SMS is sitting down. Now, but the sit is CIT and the 6 is CIX. Then you have SMS. So the CIT stands for costochondral joint. I stands for interchondral joint, and T stands for costo transverse joint. Okay, so you can call it CIC or CIT or SIT. Then the CIX, that's the 6, number 6. C stands for costovertebral joint. I stands for intervertebral joint. X stands for xiphostenal joint. That is, this is xiphoid process here, where you have one of the origin of the diaphragm. Look at diaphragm today. So that xiphoid process, has a joint with the body of the sternum. We call it xiphostenal joint. Then the M there is mandibulosternal joint. Up here, okay, the upper part of the sternum, okay, there is a joint between the upper part of the sternum called mandible and the body of the sternum called sternal body or sternal part. Okay, the next thing is you have that the last S is sternoclavicular Sorry, the last S is synchondrosis. Synchondrosis. These are the joints you find in the thorax. All right. Then the next thing we said, very tall rabbit travel very bright streets to avoid cars. So the very tall rabbit stands for vertebral levels. Okay, tall stands for thoracic outlet. Rabbit stands for relations. Okay, and then travel, very bright road stands for thoracic wall, venous drainage, blood supply, and spaces in bracket intercostal spaces. Then the next one we talk about is to avoid cars, that is thoracic cavity, action of the joint and muscle, and clinical significance or applied anatomy. Always you find clinical significance in all these things. So what were the vertebral levels we talked about? T1 to T4, that was the first vertebral level where you have mass, manibrum. Aside from manibrum, you also have what? Arc of aorta, then sternal angle of Lewis. Then moving away from there, you have what? You have the next one, which is T4 to T12. That's the inferior mediastinum. T5 to T12, posterior mediastinum. In that part, what do you have in that vertebral levels? You have Mr. Hex, that is the diaphragm, that is the maniprosternal joint, that is the heart, that is the epigastric fossa, that is the syphisternal joint. That's Mr. Hex. Now, moving away from there, talk about the thoracic outlet, V squared man. Okay, V squared, the first V is for viscera, the next V is for vein, the M is for muscle, the A is for artery, the N is for nerve. The viscera has a mnemonic, an acronym, we call it rotator. The first ROT stands for remains of thymus. The AD stands for artery. The T stands for trachea, and the OD stands for esophagus. Moving away from there, what do we have? We have that the next one, which is V, we said vein and arteries, they have BSc. They've gone to school and they have BSc. So B is for the brachiocephalic vein, just like we have brachiocephalic artery. Now the S is for left subclavian artery, just like you have left subclavian vein. And the C is the left common carotid artery, just like you have the left common carotid vein. Now the muscles there are three, we call them SS3. SS3. Now instead of SS3, we say SSL. The first S there is for stenohyoid muscle. The next S there is for stenothyroid muscle. The L there is for longus colli. And then we look at the nerve. We won't talk about artery because we already mentioned it. The nerve is PVSL. That is phrenic nerve, C4. Vagus nerve, C10. Okay, the C4 is the cervical, but the C10 is the cranial. Don't mix it up. Okay, and then you have the sympathetic trunk nerve. This is the nerve that also passes through, okay, the thoracic outlet, the thoracic opening. All right, because we talk about minor opening in diaphragm. Okay, so I needed to connect that. Sympathetic trunk nerve also, creates a minor opening, okay, in the diaphragm. Now, moving away from there, we talk about what? We talk about, excuse me, that was the thoracic outlet. The relations. For the relations, we say PAUL, Paul. Okay, somebody's name is Paul. That is posterior relation, upper relation, anterior relation, and low and lateral relation. The lateral relations is related to the ribs. You find the ribs there. The anterior relations, you find the manibrum there. The posterior relation, you find the superior surface of the T1, and then the upper relation continues as the neck. Then we talk about travel, that's thoracic wall. Thoracic wall is divided into two: extrinsic muscle and intercostal muscle. The extrinsic muscle has 11 muscles, and we say smart students study properly. So every exams requires serious study daily. What does that mean? Smart student study stands for serratus superior, serratus anterior, and serratus posterior. ASAP. Now, the properly stands for pectoralis major. And then so every exams stands for what? Scalene. Scalene, Scalene. And then moving away from there, what do we have? Excuse me, I have nipple light, so I need to off this one. Okay, so give me a second. Let me do some charging. Okay, I'll be right there with you. Where we are regulated by light. Okay. Okay, so we're here again. We're here again. Thank you very much. But this light seems not to be okay, so I still need to on this other light. Okay. Okay, so we move on. Okay. So moving on, where did we stop? 11 extrinsic muscles, right? So we said external oblique, external intercostal, okay, subclavius, okay, and we said sternocleidomastoid. Sternocleidomastoid. Those are the muscles. Then we have the diaphragm, rectus abdominis. Rectus abdominis. Okay. Don't forget the diaphragm. Okay. One of its origin is on the interior or internal lower surface of the sixth rib. Okay. One of its origin. All right. I'm just remembering that and I need to put it to rest. Let's move on. The intercostal muscles divided into three. We have the external intercostal muscle, internal intercostal muscle, and what? We have transversus thoracic intercostal muscle. Okay. Are you following? Guess, are you following? I hope you are not sleeping. I hope you are following. All right. So we move on. See your eyes as if you want to sleep. All right. So we move on. We move on. Okay. So now the transversus thoracic muscle is divided into three. We say that is cis. That is what? Can you hear me? I said transversus thoracic. Okay, transversus thoracic muscle layer is divided into three. Cis, S-I-S. What did I say? Okay, so if you can hear me, we are now talking about what? Internal intercostal muscle, the part that is transversus, okay, transversus thoracic muscle layer. Can you hear? Please let only your face show. Don't let your thorax show so that we don't get flag off. Please let only your face show because you are not wearing clothes. Please, so we don't get flag off by YouTube. Let only your each time you are coming, wear something. Okay, please. People have been getting flagged. They even delete some channels because they of issues. So please don't be wearing each time you are, no matter how hot the place is. Please, I'm not supposed to say this live, but you are getting me stressed up. Maybe I'll stop inviting you as my guest. I think you are tired. Hmm? Uh-huh. All right, so we continue. We are now talking about the six muscles. That's the subcostalis, intercostalis, and stenocostalis. Subcostalis, intercostalis, and stenocostalis. So those are the three muscles you find in the transversus what? Thoracic intercostal muscle layer. Okay, so we move away from there. We now talk about the venous drainage. We said the thorax drains from the ascending what? Hey, can you tell me about the venous drainage of the thorax?
Okay, so the venous drainage of the thorax, we saw the three main veins that drain the thorax, that the varicose vein, the accessory hemiazygos, and the hemiazygos vein itself. And sorry, the
All right, I can't hear you, so let me.
the subcostal vein, and the subcostal vein drains, the hemiazygos vein drains.
All right, so I can't hear you, so let me run it from here. The venous drainage of the thorax, we said from the uh, ascending lumbar vein, it drains into the subcostal vein, and then inferior cava vein also drains into the subcostal vein. A part of it drains into the superior cava vein, while a part of it drains into the subcostal vein, and the subcostal vein drains into the hemiazygos vein. The hemiazygos vein drains into the accessory hemiazygos vein. Accessory hemiazygos vein drains into the azygos vein, and the azygos vein drains into the superior cava vein, and the superior cava vein drains into the right atrium, which drains into the right ventricle, which moves through the pulmonary artery to the lungs for oxygenation. Moving away from there, we send we have blood supply, SCID or CIDs. C they stand for coastal cervical trunk. I stand for internal thoracic artery. D stands for the deep cervical artery, and the S stands for supreme intercostal artery. Okay. Now, street stands for spaces, and in the afternoon or the morning, we talk about the spaces of the thorax as the intercostal space. He said the space, very importantly, is made up of ribs. You have ribs in between, is the spaces are in between the ribs, and then you have the groove, the costal groove, and then you have the innermost intercostal artery, you have the internal intercostal, sorry, innermost intercostal uh, muscles, okay, and then you have inner internal intercostal muscle, external intercostal muscle, then you have collateral vessel, and then you have the vein, the artery, and the nerve. We've talked about the kind of veins and artery and the nerve that you find. Okay, now move away from there, from what led us to that now. We talk about the vein, that's spaces. From space, we talk about the the two, they stand for thoracic cavity. So the thoracic cavity include structures like the heart, the lungs, okay, and which other thing? The diaphragm. Those are viscerals you find there. Okay, not really internal. Diaphragm really is a partition. So that was how we began to talk about diaphragm. And we said, as you're looking at diaphragm, IDSO, ID, so IDSO, I do's, okay? So what does I stand for? Introduction. Sorry about that. Let me take my water. Okay. So the I there stands for what? Introduction. How do we introduce the diaphragm? We said GPS, CPS. All right. You know, GPS is a common word, so we change it to CPS. What does CPS stands for? Chief respiratory muscle. What does P stands for? Passage for structures in both directions. Okay, structures pass into it, structures pass out of it. Okay, what does S stands for? It is a separating partition between the thorax and the abdomen. The diaphragm separates the thorax from the abdomen. So that's what is CPS. C for what? The chief respiratory muscle. P for what? The P for what? The passage. Okay, for structures. And S for what? The separating partition. Okay, look at the definition of diaphragm. We say diaphragm is a musculofibrous partition, okay, that separates the thorax and the abdomen. Separates the thorax from the abdomen. Do you follow? Okay, the next thing we talked about. Wow, no, this one is not hunger, it's tiredness. The next thing we talked about is the okay, so the next thing we talk about, I think I'm having a poor lighting system. Okay. The next thing we talked about is the spaces. Is it spaces? The shape, yeah. IDOS. Okay, O is opening. We have major opening and minor opening. Major opening and minor opening. The major opening is divided into three. The major opening is divided into three. The first one we say voie. V is vertebral opening. O is oesophageal opening. And then A is aortic opening. These are the three openings created through the diaphragm. Now, the minor openings, okay, what do you have? You have minor opening, about six of them. You have the one that is created by greater and lesser splanchnic nerve. Okay, the one that is created by greater, and we call it ECSMS. CSMS. The CSMS. C there is SES. SMS. Okay. So the S there is the S there is superior epigastric. Okay. superior epigastric vessels, they create a minor opening. Okay, the C there, the E there rather, is the each of the greater and lesser splanchnic nerve. They create another minor opening. And then you talk about the uh, lymph, the is it the laryngeal? Okay, think either the laryngeal, the left laryngeal nerve. The laryngeal nerve creates another opening, but the sympathetic trunk creates an opening. Okay, the musculophrenic nerve creates an opening. Okay, the a superior, no, not superior. We've already talked about superior epigastric nerve. Okay, which other nerve they create an opening? There's some small vessels that create opening in the diaphragm, minor opening. But the major opening are the vertebral opening. Okay, the aortic opening and the voie and the esophageal opening. Those are openings where the esophagus pass is the esophageal opening. Okay, let's make progress. Let's make progress. Okay, okay, I'm making progress. All right, so the next thing we talked about very quickly. Next thing we talk about very quickly. Okay, next thing we talk about very openly is the shape. The shape of the diaphragm is dome shape, D-O-M-E. Dome shape, D-O-M-E-D. And now we said that it is convex from right to left. Lala, okay, from right to left, from left to right. And we said that the diaphragm is depressed in the middle and it is concave, okay, in its inferior abdominal surface. Now, what's the acronym for that? We say SIAS, deep core. SIAS, core dim. That is, the core is very dim. C as the core. The core is very dim. The CIAS is CIAS. The core is CORL. And the dim is DIM. So CIAS stands for concave in its inferior abdominal surface. Core stands for convex on left to right. Sorry, concave on right to left. And then dim is dim, depressed in the middle. That's all about the shape. And then we talk about the origin and insertion. Okay, the insertion is very simple. It is at the central tendon. It inserts at the central tendon where you have the crus. Okay, you have the crus, left and right crus. Okay, where you have inferior to the around the T12. Okay, inferior to the xiphoid process. Okay, that bone we call xiphoid process. Those were the things we were learning in the afternoon about diaphragm. And then moving away from there, we also learn about the origin. You say it has about three major origin, and that is the CVS. That's the language we use. Because why do we use CVS? You say you're going to be doing CVS physiology, that's cardiovascular physiology, in your first in course, as first semester year 2. And then what is that CVS? The CVS there is C for coastal origin or coastal surface origin, and the V there is the vertebral origin or vertebral surface origin, and the S there is sternal origin or the sternal surface origin. So meaning that the diaphragm, okay, is attached or originate partly from the sternum, the xiphoid process of the sternum, and then the next part is the coastal surface. That's the internal lower 6 ribs. Okay, internal lower 6 rib. Okay, internal lower 6 ribs. In case you're writing, are you writing? Are you taking a few notes? Good. So I'm gonna run through it. The one you don't get, you let me know. And you don't get to let me know, because you're going to tell me what we've learned today by tomorrow morning when we go for anatomy shopping. All right. We're going for anatomy shopping tomorrow. All right. Either by 8 a.m. or by 9 a.m. Okay. We're going to do that. All right. Where we teach the remaining part of the diaphragm that we have not done. Okay. So talking about the origin, we say CVS. C stands for coastal surface attachment, and V stands for vertebral surface attachment. S stands for sternal surface attachment. We move away from there and we talk about, what else do we talk about? We talk about the vertebral surface attachment. The vertebral surface attachment, that one has two major cross, C-R-U-S. Can call it cruise or cross. You have the right cruise and the left cruise. The right cruise is attached, okay, to the body and intervertebral disc of L1, L2, and L3. Okay, think a transverse process too, something like that. And then you also have the left cruise is divided into three. The first one is attached, okay, to where, let's put it this way. We have the one that is attached to the medial, okay, arcuate ligament. Okay, follows the medial arcuate. It comes out through the medial, just side by side, from the medial arcuate ligament, okay, which attaches at the L1, L2, and the transverse process, okay, both the body and intervertebral disc of L1 and L2, and the transverse process of L1. All right. Then the third one, the second one in the left cruise is, okay. Let me take this slowly so you get it. Let me take it slowly so you get it. Okay. Now, hello, can you hear me? Good. You have taken the right cross, right? Where it is good. Let's take left cross. I say left cross, there are three. The first one is the median, what?
The medial arcuate ligament.
Where that is from the medial arcuate ligament, where it passes to attach at the body and inter body and intervertebral disc. Where did I tell you the right cruise attached from?
The L2 and L3,
Good.
sir.
L1 and L3. So the one attaching from the medial arcuate ligament, watch this now. Those ones, okay, attached to the body and intervertebral disc. Attached to the body and intervertebral disc of L1, L2, and the transverse process. Do you follow? Okay. I will move on to the next one. We said the next one is the lateral arcuate ligament. It's another attachment by the lateral arcuate ligament. Okay, there's another attachment by the lateral arcuate ligament. That attachment, okay, can I go on? Can I go on? Okay. That attachment is attached to where? To, yes, still the side of the L1 and L2 and the body and disc of intervertebral discs. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Okay, so that is where we stopped. All right, and we'll be beginning from there. Okay, we're beginning from there. Maybe anytime we want to study anatomy of the tap tomorrow, we'll begin from there. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, my dear guests, for being a part of this session. But before we go, I want you to tell me what you have learned from what I have shared, because it's a discussion, it's a dialogue. So let me hear from you what you have learned so far. You are free to say it from your book, okay, because we've not internalized, I only share with you, and I've not given you opportunity to say it back. So you say from your book what you have picked out today, all right, in today's live session.
Okay, so today's section, I will be able to pick out from the mnemonic that says very tall rabbit bright street to avoid cars. When we say that this stands for the vertical level, the T1 to T4, and the T5 to the T12. That is, we have the from the T1 to T4, we have the mass, and then for the thoracic outlet, we have the V squared, where V stands the visceral organ, the S stands for the vein, the N stands for the muscles, the A stands for the and the N stands for the neck. Then we went to the relation where we have the posterior relation, the anterior relation, the upper relation, the lateral relation. Then
Please
we
try and be fast a little. Please try and be fast a little because you're reading from book some of it. So try and be fast a little as we go.
okay, so we went to the thoracic wall and down to the pelvic. Then we went to the blood supply, the spaces, the thoracic cavity, the action of joint and the muscles, and the clinical significance of applied and then the space under the space the costal groove, the innermost intercostal muscle, the internal intercostal muscle, and the internal extracostal. Then
External intercostal, not extracostal. External intercostal.
then we look at the diaphragm. We say that the diaphragm is like a muscle partition that separates the ribs from the abdomen. Then we went on to look at
The thorax from abdomen, not ribs. So
the thorax from the abdomen, sir. Then we went on to look at the major and the where we have the vertebral.
I can't hear your voice again. Oh.
We went on to look at the major and the minor open, where we have the vertebral opening, the opening, opening, and the aortic, then minor opening from the epigastric
I can't hear your voice again.
So, the minor
the
opening
minor opening
we have that
we have that
they are
the
created most
are
are
created
created
more
from the
from
greater
bigger
and smaller
and
planet
smaller
nerves.
planet.
We have the
We
opening
have
from the
the
sympathetic
sympathetic
tract and
and
the
the
superior
superior
epigastric
epigastric.
opening.
Then we
Then we
have the
have the
shape
shape
of
of the
diaphragm.
diaphragm.
We
We
say
say
that
that
the
the
diaphragm
diaphragm
is
is
doomed
doomed to shape and
and
it's
it's
convex
convex
from
from
right
right
to left and
and
concave in
concave
the
in the
middle.
middle.
Then we went
Then
on
we
to
went
look
on
at
to
the
look at the
intersection
intersection
where we have
where
the
we have the
central
central
chondrum,
chondrum,
the
the
inferior
inferior
around the
around the
equal.
equal.
Then we went
Then
on
we
to look
went
at the
on to look
origin
at
of
the
the
origin of
diaphragm.
the diaphragm.
We say
We
that
say that
diaphragm
diaphragm
originates from
from
three
three
surface
surface
origin. That
origin.
is the
That is the
so the
the
costal
coastal
surface
surface
origin,
origin,
the
the
vertebral surface
vertebral surface
origin,
origin,
and then
and
the
then the
sternal
sternal
surface origin,
surface
sir.
origin, sir.
Then we saw
Then
that
we saw
the
that the
vertebral
vertebral
surface
surface
origin, it
origin,
has
it
two
has
scrolls.
two.
That is the
That
right
is the
and the
right
left
and the
scroll.
left
The right
scroll.
scroll
The
we
right
saw
scroll
that
we
it
saw that
attached
attached
to the L2
to the
and the
L2 and
L3.
the L3.
And then the
And
left
then
scroll we
the
said
left scroll we
attached
say
to
it
the
attached
3 point.
to 3 point.
That is the
That is
medial
the
accurate
media
ligament,
accurate ligament,
the lateral accurate
lateral
ligament,
accurate ligament,
and the medial accurate ligament.
accurate ligament.
All right,
Then
thank you
the
very
medial
much.
Then
accurate
the
ligament,
media accurate ligament.
No,
we
that's
said
okay.
that
Thank you very
Say that
much. That's how much we can take for today. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for being the guest today. We hope, God, that you have learned something. Please go to the study studio. All right, go to the study shop and then drop what you have learned. If you want to look at one or two things in your notes, okay, you do. If you want to watch this again, of course you do. Now, you have to try your best to go to the studio and share from your brain, okay, what you have learned. And if you want to look at one or two, no problem. But remember, the goal is you share from your brain. That's the Made Such Course channel, WhatsApp channel. Okay, MEDSURGCORSE course. Okay, CORSE rather, course. Make such course. Like you say, course code now. So that's the spelling of the course. Nothing too special, nothing different. Okay. So go there and then be a part of what is happening there. Okay. Drop your own voice. Each time we study, we go there to drop what we do. Okay, what you can recall, what we can to master, to stammer, to plaster, to be corrected and to correct others. But that's not the goal, but you drop it because if you don't say it, it cannot sink in. If you don't see it, it cannot sink in. All right, so if you are new to the channel, you subscribe. And if you are not new and you've not subscribed, please check to be sure that you subscribe. Okay, hit the subscribe button, that's how they call it. So that anytime we make video, you'll see it. So that it can also be shared with other people. You can also share with other people who are doing this course. Okay, you know people or know people who may know people that are doing this course, you share to be a blessing to them. Many people are really struggling, and then this is a foundation. If they are not getting these foundations, guess what? In the field, they'll be having issue. So pause here at this point, ladies and gentlemen. We meet tomorrow by 9 a.m. Tomorrow's session is by 9 a.m. Another session is by study session is by 3 p.m. And then the last study session is by 9 p.m. 3 9 a.m., 3 p.m., and 9 p.m. Okay. So once again, see you at the top. God bless you.